So, whether you are planning on having a house party with some guests, getting some drinks, talking maybe about an ex lover, going into the sauna, or waking up with a hangover and grabbing a cup of coffee, or just hanging out at the piano room, I am SoFancy, and I am going to be bringing you a lovely kind of mansion today. I'm not quite sure if I can go to the extent of calling it an actual mansion, but it is a very large home. And if I had to give it a style, I would say it is more on the outside, maybe colonial a bit, since it has the columns and the archways. And what really inspired me to make this particular home was I was playing The Sims, and once you get up to a certain level of funds, you really kind of want to try for those performance, those additional objects that you can get from having guest house parties or birthday celebrations or costume parties and whatnot. And I'm one of those people that kind of just shove everything outside and hope for the best. The only problem is it isn't well thought out, so a lot of my guests are all over the house, and I'm not able to complete my objectives, and therefore my party fails. So, the bottom level of this house is really dedicated to having Sims over, having guests over, and being able to have those parties. So, the bottom level here, or I should actually just start off by saying that the first 10 minutes is primarily the structural components to the house. It is two levels. It has a master bedroom and a nursery for a girl. It can certainly be changed to a boy nursery or a child's bedroom, maybe even a guest bedroom. And those are on the second floor. And then it has a first floor and second floor bathroom. So on this first floor, you will see two sides of the house kind of extend outward. There on the left, I had made that a small walk-through for your guests. On the opposite end of that room, there is regular house doors where you can go ahead and lock so your guests aren't roaming around. Those will be on both sides. But on that left-hand side, that is going to be kind of a bar, lounge, buffet kind of uh, room where you can hire a bartender and you can sit and have some drinks and whatnot. And over here to the right, this is going to be the patio. And this is where your Sims can light a fireplace and sit around on the sofas and maybe mingle. If you don't plan on having any guests over, you can grab some breakfast, maybe sit on the porch, watch some passerby people. And the middle, obviously, there is a pool in the middle. I went ahead later and put a garden on the right side where people can sit or lounge. And then the pool area is very luxurious and there is a lot of floral accents. Now, this room that I am trying to make in back of the actual lounging, the outdoor lounge, in the back, people will be able to just walk through there and go into a sauna, which is just a Sims hot tub, and there's a set of mirrors and some music that you can put on for them as well. So I was just kind of messing around with the structural components to the house. I really wanted to add some porches and different things, but I just realized that the symmetry was a little bit off. Sometimes, some houses, certain houses or builds really call for that symmetrical feel to them. And so I went ahead and the back is very, it's just like it's not a plain back. I tried to spice it up a bit later with some vines and some flowers, but it is, compared to the front of the house, that's very architecturally sound. The back is kind of just like straightforward. So I apologize for that. There is a porch that I had placed on the top that will later have a nice table and chair for your Sims. I probably should have added a chess table, which I wanted to do. I did not do that, but I should have actually put that up top now that I think about it. So I went ahead and I am just going through and coloring all the house components. I go ahead and do that to all the inside rooms as well because it kind of just makes a good base to, see what colors or whatnot you're going to put in the game. And I come back a little bit later and figure out the back of the house. I should have used a bigger lot, but that's okay. Maybe I'll make a bigger mansion at some point. And I really wanted to decorate this house with a lot of gardening. Gardening is just like my thing, I guess, with Sims, and it really just brings life. And I think Sims 4 really does well on that. You can change the different colors and such. So let's go ahead here. And I always like to add the two-dimensional colors to the homes. I don't know, I guess some homes really don't, it's not necessary, but I like when you can put the light on the outside and then see it in nighttime. It just, everything just looks so awesome, and it just looks very dimensional. So this is what I was talking about, just going in and putting those doors that your Sims, your owners can lock, so your guests aren't all around. And I go ahead and just do this. I'm pretty sure that everybody, I've seen a lot of Sim builds before, and I know a lot of people just kind of get the base down. I am going to go ahead later and add a sauna to the top, or a steam room, whatever you want to call it. And right now I am building the walk-in closet, and then you'll have some really fancy mirrors to look at yourself and your Sims while you're in there. So I wonder how everyone else gets really kind of inspired to build a house like this. I often wonder myself. What I usually do is I kind of think of some adjectives like luxurious or elegant or lovely, and I put them into Google with homes, and I look at a bunch of them, and I kind of come up with all these ideas. And then what I will do is, while I'm playing the game, I'm like, oh wait, that should go there. That would make it really awesome. And the problem with using Google Images for houses is it's a great way to get the front of the house, not so much the back. So you kind of have to be a little more creative on that. What you're looking at are what I had completed there on the bottom. The first level is kind of like a sunroom. It's going to be a place where your Sims can, if they're into gardening, this would probably be perfect. But it's essentially going to be a room where you can put all your potted plants, and they'll kind of have like a green room effect, get that light in from the sun and grow to be luxurious blooming flowers or whatnot. Maybe you do your own gardening. Maybe that's how we get all this lovely gardening around the house. So this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier, just going in and adding lights all around the house. It is so cool. Sometimes I get a little, I don't know, I sometimes don't know if I should put my main thumbnail picture in nighttime because I enjoy the lights, or if I should put that in daytime. But needless to say, you can always get fancy with the lights, and it really just brings the home into a bigger picture. So I hadn't, when I was actually doing the outside of the home, I don't necessarily know what rooms are going to be what, at least inside the house. But I know that when I add different flowers on the outside, sometimes they'll come in, so I have to rearrange them again. But sometimes, like, you come into those circumstances where the flowers are actually like peeking through the wall that actually make the room really awesome. So I actually had that in the kitchen. So speaking of gardens, I am creating the garden here right now, and I wanted to create some fountains, but sometimes the fountains don't work with you all right away. So you kind of have to mingle a little bit with the game to kind of get your overall appeal to it. And so I guess when I do these speed builds, I like to put in, like, if I'm going to rearrange a room, or if I do a room and I don't like it, I always go ahead and show you guys how I redid the room, because it's really kind of important to understand maybe someone's train of thought of, okay, well, they were going to do this, and now they're going to go and do this, and this is the end product. So that's really cool to see, instead of just kind of cutting those portions out that someone might actually be really interested in seeing. So I guess I never actually had a garden like this. I essentially was going to start putting a maze here, on the right, but then I was like, oh wait, no, it might slow my game down, so let's not do that. But maybe I will do some type of gardening maze. I'm not even quite sure what they're called, but I know you can do them really well in this game, and maybe I will look forward to doing that in an actual mansion. So, whether your Sims are feeling romantic, they can go out there, they can walk out there. You could even add some own like gardening pots out there and do your own gardening for flowers and whatnot. So here I am going ahead and just putting in the furniture for the outdoor lounge, just somewhere where your Sims would really enjoy hanging out when the sun goes down. And I went ahead and put two sofas and a fireplace, and I was just kind of messing around with the flowers and the candles. And you can certainly go ahead and change any of those colors as well. And then what I had done is I started adding the garden accents around the home, just something more welcoming to your guests and kind of give it that luxurious kind of feel, like you have a professional landscaper outside. And I wanted to give the pool a little bit of a pop of floral attributes. So I went ahead and was just messing around with a way that would elongate the pool and make it really luxurious as well. So a lot of these gardens, as I stated before, I really like the Sims 4 gardens in a previous video. And I like just putting the flowers as close together as possible and really just coming up with a bushel of flowers and what really looks cool as a garden. And I went ahead and put the dirt so it's more realistic, and as well as the stones walking into that bar kind of loungy buffet area. And I think for the most part, I actually don't remember a lot of the florals that come in the Sims packs, especially because sometimes things are added new with the different stuff packs. So I really kind of surprise myself when I go ahead and really go all out to try to do a garden. These vines I actually just discovered while I was building this home, and if you make them bigger, they really collide together in a way that really makes that kind of Victorian old, vineyard feel to it. So I went ahead and I added this to the back of the house, especially because when you have a flat, kind of like no structure like I was talking about earlier, because of the back, there's not too much going on for the exception of the sunroom. You really just want something that's going to accentuate the areas that are a little bit duller. And I went ahead and I enlarged some and just put as much as I could in one area. And I think this was really cool, just putting the vines kind of rolling up the top of the second floor as well. And what's really neat about The Sims 4 is that when you go and play, like you take the actual walls down, that they're not in your way. So that was really cool. I think I had some issues with that in Sims 3 where they would be peeking through your house and whatnot. So this is getting onto the decorating aspect. So this is that lounge. I wanted to keep that really kind of elegant gold, warm tone kind of feel. I went ahead and made the buffet table, and I also put a fountain, and I actually went in later and played this, and I filled it with fruit punch, but you can fill it with whatever your Sims enjoy. And I tried to get all angles so that depending on how you play, that you would really feel accommodated with this house from each angle. Now, I said this before, but I typically like to play from more of a left-right angle, if that even makes sense. Probably not. I like looking to the left of the house when actually looking at my Sims and being able to play with them. It's just easier. I can keep everyone within a visual distance instead of moving around. And I typically play with the half walls down. So I just am viewing the back. I don't actually play with all the walls up unless I might do a let's play later on. So this kitchen, it is an open kitchen. I really kind of messed around with it. I wanted to give a warm feeling to it, but I also wanted to kind of bring in that art decor a little bit. So I come back later and I make the kitchen a little more, I don't want to say compact. That's not the right word. But just somewhere where you'd actually want to walk in, where you'd want to hang out. There is no tables within the actual kitchen. It is purely just for cooking. You do have some stools that I go in and later add if you just want to have breakfast or brunch or just maybe hold a small get together. You can certainly do it in there. And this next room that I am doing, this is the sunroom. Obviously, you can tell from the walls or the two rooms in the front, it wouldn't make much sense to kind of just have that all open and just have it one room. I guess you could if you really wanted to, but I just decided to make it a smaller room for all those potted plants that you're currently growing and they're getting all that nourishment from the sun and whatnot. And it's just a really nice room. I definitely would like a small kind of green home room in my own house, but that'll never happen. So I went ahead and I made the room in front of it just a kind of no frill bathroom. I wanted to keep the walls beige, and I went ahead and I put the walls up just so that your Sims could get higher in their environment. I went ahead and put some decor above the tub, as well as some robes and some towels, so that when your Sims are in there, they can really enjoy themselves, regardless of, even though it is a smaller bathroom. And that is kind of like a historical tub. I'm not quite sure of what they're actually called. It's not coming to me right now, but I like that bathroom. It's simple and everything is not in the way, and you have easy access to the toilet, which sometimes is actually put in to homes where you can't view them. So you have to like rearrange your camera screen to do that. So anyways, onto the dining room. I really wanted to originally add some type of fountain. I wanted to bring that inside feel. And I couldn't do that because I typically do not use any cheats other than the money or the making things bigger cheats. So I couldn't actually do that because we are on one level higher than the ground. But I'm sure I could have did that if it was all one level. But what's also really cool though is most of the gardening flowers, like the trees and such, you can actually bring them in, which is odd. It doesn't actually, it can be on any level. So I was able to do that in the sauna room. And once I was talking, or a couple minutes ago, I was talking about adding different kind of art decor. Over to the right, you see a fountain right there. I actually had made this a way to showcase some of the fancy art in the house. So, regardless of the actual million posters that I had put in the house, this was kind of a main centerpiece for anybody walking into the house. Your owners now have a showcase of something really elegant, and I like to put a fence around it because it's like a no-touch area, especially for kids, and it brings in that really kind of luxurious open feel. So I'm just doing some finishing touches here. This next room over to the right, I wanted to make a music room, not so much a music room to have all the music instruments, but a music kind of slash library, smaller library. And I went ahead and I made this very like a light blue and with some royal blue curtains at first, but then I realized it looked very kind of Victorian, and not that that's a bad thing, but it just wasn't fitting with the house, which was kind of a mix between, like I said earlier, colonial, but kind of modern at the same time. So I go ahead and do a little bit of color differences later on and different placements of where everything is. So I'm going ahead and just adding the bookcases, and there is a bonsai plant that your Sims can shape and get some skill off of. I know scientists, one of their objectives is to shape the bonsai plant at work, which was actually, it caught me off guard. And then I went ahead and I was able to put the degrees on the left side. Perhaps if your Sims could afford this house, and it's about a $200,000 house, maybe you have sold a lot of paintings, or maybe you've reached really high in your career. So while I am finishing up this particular room and figuring out the colors, oh, and don't you just love the salmony color, the dark kind of salmon? I love it. I love this color. I'm going to go ahead and talk about this next room. So this next room, I wanted to make a hot tub. And what I had done is I kind of wanted to be a little more creative here. So I went in and added some plants, some potted plants. And also this is an outdoor tree and bush. And I put them in the back of the hot tub. And then later when I clicked on the hot tub disappeared. So what I had done since then is I went ahead and even though it looks exactly the same, I had to go in and just minimize the actual potting plants to their original size so that the hot tub wouldn't disappear. And I also had to remove this corner of the room as well. But don't fear, it is in the download where you can actually download this entire house. I will put everything in the box below. So as I was talking about earlier, I went in and just did some minor adjustments to the kitchen, just made it fill out a little bit more, and I went in and changed some colors and used the dark mahogany and made this really nice living space as well. So I went ahead and I put another art kind of structure in, there it is, and I went ahead and put a painting behind it and then enclosed by a fence so that it would just kind of fill in that space. You can certainly take that out and put whatever you like there. I just thought that was really cool, and it kind of coincided with the living room kind of showcase of that fountain and floral, I don't even know what to call it, structure. So I went upstairs and I realized that I did not have a general living room. And I don't know why, but this is the living rooms, I guess because when I play, I'm so busy trying to get my Sims skill levels up to try to get those Similins that I often forget to make living rooms. I know, I usually just have like a table and a kitchen and just a place where my Sims can read and go on the computer. And I totally forget to put a living room, which is beyond me, but I go back to that later. They're definitely not my strong point, so I definitely give anyone props if they can fix up that room. What I'm doing here is I kind of wanted to bring in that ultimate colonial kind of feel to the room. I went ahead and put in those wood structures in the room and all those darker woods, maybe the bookcase, and I have a kind of like a suitcase with a record player. Maybe it's a room where you can put your collectibles, where you could read, and obviously it's an open office so you can put your skill levels up. You could also work from home if you wanted to, and I really like this room. I think that the decor is really awesome. So this was kind of the added bonus to the upstairs. It's just kind of like this random sauna. And I went ahead and put a fish tank so your Sims can take care of some fish. And I really wanted a romantic feel. So I went ahead and put two lovely hearts on the backdrop, as well as some candles surrounding the sauna. Just a very relaxing atmosphere. I was intentionally going to put a massage table, but I figured, hey, your Sims could always just have a way to travel and go and visit the spa if they wanted to, and it would give your Sims a day out. This right here, I went ahead and I created a bathroom, and I realized once I was completing this bathroom that one, it looked like the downstairs, and two, it had once again this Victorian kind of look that I wasn't going for the house. So I went ahead and I did not remove this from the video or the speed build because I wanted to show you that what I had done prior, but later I went in and changed this to make it a little more modern. And I go ahead and create the bedroom, which is, it's really vibrant. It's going to be kind of purpley, and it's going to bring in those blacks and purple and really kind of romance. But I also wanted to make it really open. Of course, when you're putting a bed on an angle, you just have to make sure that it is at a good angle because your Sims will not be able to get into bed. So I had to make enough room for that. I put the dresser to the side with cologne and some perfume and just decorated the walls. This right here is the open closet, or the large walk-in closet. So I went ahead and I found all the two different shoe storage cases and what looked like maybe like a drawer where you can put knockaround clothing in. And then I used all the clothing that you can use for your career, or just make it look like you can have a great time in your walk-in closet. You can always go over to the left to the general dresser and then change your Sims outfit, or just click on your Sim. So I often do not use this flooring pattern, but I was like, hey, you know what? Let's do something different, because, you know, you guys can always change it. And I really think that it goes really nicely with the walls, and maybe not so much with the house. You can do some gold tones if you want, or some beige, but I thought that was worth keeping around. So I went ahead and, like I said earlier, I changed the bathroom up a bit, and I really liked the new improved version of it. It definitely goes with the bedroom a little bit better, as well as the walk-in closet. I went ahead and added two birds, maybe two lovebirds, behind the bed as decor. And I was just trying to figure out how I could add plants and such, but there wasn't a lot of room since the bed was on an angle. And one thing that I noticed while creating this room, as well as the office, that I wanted to apologize for is that I add lights last. I guess lights are, you know, some lights just don't go with a room type, so I tend to add them last. But it's also a downfall because when I'm doing a speed build, you guys can't exactly see what I'm doing. So I hope that that is okay. I will try to work on that, of course. But, you know, I'm just trying to get the ropes of these things, just trying to get some good content, good houses out there for you, maybe some good ideas. So I'm not really necessarily worried about the too superficial details. So this is the living room, and I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it. I really wanted to bring some gardening in this room, since the other rooms I couldn't exaggerate any type of potted plants or anything like that. And of course, the lighting in Sims, it's either, you know, yellow lighting or kind of like this fluorescent blue. So I was like messing around with the lights and trying to figure that out. But that room I just worried about last, so I'm sorry if it looks like the worst room in the house. I went ahead, and this is the girls' nursery. You can certainly go in and put, obviously, room doors if you like instead of the walkway. You can change this to a boys' room. You can change this to a guest bedroom. I just wanted something that the house is not only going to feel like a guest house, but or like maybe like to have guests over downstairs, but I also wanted to bring in that family feel. So you may certainly change that room around if you like, and add whatever you want to. So as you see, I came pretty far with this room, just adding some lights and some vines. Obviously they're on the other side of the house from the back. And I went ahead and tried to place a TV somewhere, just because I know your Simmers do enjoy the TV, and it really hires your entertainment really fast. So while I am finishing this up, I just want to say thank you if you are watching this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you really like this mansion, go ahead and give me a like. And if you like the way that I am doing the speed builds or have any recommendations, please let me know. I am new to this. I just want to get my content out there for you guys, because I have been a longtime activist of Sims. So you guys have a great day. This is going to be the showcase. You have a lovely time. Stay so fancy, and see you guys.